Hello everyone, welcome to this video. Hope you all are doing good. Today I'm going to talk about some of the lubrication KPIs and their significance, which will help us to measure the performance of our lubrication program. And also we will see what is the OCR, oil consumption ratio, and how do we quantify the leakages, and how do we going to work on the leakages, and how do we track them. So let's get started. Here is the brief about myself. I'm R. Shaktivel. I'm a condition monitoring professional. I'm holding a degree in mechanical engineering, and I'm a certified chartered engineer from Institute of Engineers, and I'm ISO category 3 vibration analyst, level 2 certified infrared thermographer, AS&T level 2 certified in ultrasound testing, magnetic particle testing, and dye penetrant testing. So, how do you quantify the oil leakages, and normally how do you deal with it? So, we all might come across a lot of leakages inside the plant with a lot of machineries. So, how do we tackle it normally? So, how do we quantify the oil leakage and how do you deal with it? So if you measure the number of leakage points and taking the photos of oil leakages, how does this will help in solving and tracking the oil loss due to the leakages? So here is the solution for all of the stated problems, which is oil consumption ratio. Tracking and measuring the oil consumption ratio will give a fair idea about oil leakages and high oil volume of oil consumption. So what is oil consumption ratio? So oil consumption ratio is the ratio of volume of oil consumed to the volume of oil installed. So as said, it helps in finding the urgency of addressing the high oil consumption primarily due to the oil leakages. So we can track a specific equipment wise or specific department wise oil consumption ratio, and then we can plan our action plans accordingly. So let's say in a typical manufacturing environment setup, the guide value for the oil consumption ratio is varies from 0.45 to 0.85. That depends upon the machine, depends upon the application and the environment it works. So we can say the guide value is between the 0.45 to 0.85. So this will help us in identifying the most high oil consumption equipment, and we can plan our actions and prioritize the actions based on the OCR numbers. So why KPIs are important? So we know the unmeasured process cannot be controlled unless we are measuring something on a process. Uh, we don't know what's going on in the process. Ultimately, we do not come to know performance of the program. So the key performance indicator is a measurable value that demonstrates how effectively a program is achieving its key business objectives. This is the reason why any program or any process is having a different KPIs in order to track and measure the performance effectively. So let's see some of the KPIs which will help us to know the performance of our lubrication program. The first KPI is the oil consumption ratio, which will help us in identifying the oil consumption levels. This does not include fresh oil top-ups, but the extra or additional top-ups that we are making due to various reasons like leakages and loss of oil and so on. And it is primarily helps in identifying the potential oil leakages inside the plant equipment. equipment, and it will help us in prioritizing the high oil consuming equipments for quick action. The second KPI is the number of failures due to the lubrication. So it is a direct measurement of our lubrication practices effectiveness. It can be measured by number of incidents or other measurements of equipment failures that can be because of lubrication. We can also measure the number of bearing replacements or bearing consumption which is associated with the poor lubrication practices. The third KPI is the compliance to oil analysis program. So a good lubrication program will also contain the oil condition monitoring program, also known as the oil analysis program. So we can measure the compliance to the oil analysis program directly. So we might be having a specific schedule for different equipments, maybe a quarterly, a half yearly, or monthly. So the adherence to the schedule of those oil analysis can be measured, and we can also track down to the number of reports in the green, number of reports in the alert level, and which this will indicate overall effectiveness in oil condition monitoring. The fourth KPI is the cleanliness of the lubrication oils. So we know there are different standards for cleanliness of the gear oil, hydraulic oil, and different oils, like ISO 4406 and NAS are the different standards for cleanliness. We can have different cleanliness standards to our equipments, and we can target each equipment for a particular cleanliness levels, and we could track it down over a period of time how many percentage of the equipments are achieving the target. In this way we can improve the uh, overall cleanliness of our lubrication oils over a period of time. So the fifth KPI is the compliance to lubrication work orders. This is something related to a CMMS, computerized maintenance management systems, wherein we use different tools like SAP or some other tool for our maintenance planning and work orders. So it will tracking down the lubrication work orders will give you the clear picture of overall efficiency of lubrication practices, and it is a measure of total number of completed lubrication tasks divided by total number of scheduled lubrication tasks. So this percentage should be more than 90 if your program is very good, and a lower number may be revealing that there is inefficiencies in areas such as lubrication routes, workload balancing, and resource allocation or equipment access. The sixth KPI is the lubricants inventory levels. So this means having a very less number of lubricant inventory levels in our store yard in order to avoid the business money getting blocked in the storeroom inside our oil barrels. So the first thing is total lubricants held in stock. The amount of lubricants held in the stock should be as minimum as possible. This can be done by ensuring we are having a very good oil analysis program to ensure the oil condition time to time, so that we can plan the oil well early in advance, so that we could implement the just in approach So we should also have a less varieties of lubricants in our s- system so that we can maintain the stock as less as possible. And the lubricant stockouts, which means whenever we are in need of a lubricant and that is not available in our stores, that is called a lubricant stockouts. This should be there should not be any instance of lubricant stock out in case of requirements. This can be ensured by maintaining a minimum inventory levels all the time. And we all by the outcomes from the oil analysis program can also be well utilized in this case. So in both the cases we should have a minimal target, meaning we should have a very less lubricant in our inventory. Also we should have very less varieties of lubricants as possible, and we should avoid any lubricant stockouts. So here is the summary of our presentation. So how to measure the lubrication program success with our KPIs by tracking the oil consumption ratio and measuring the number of failures due to the lubrication, and compliance, measuring the compliance to oil analysis program, and keeping a target on the cleanliness of the lubrication oils, and the compliance to the lubrication work orders, and lubricant inventory levels. By tracking all these critical KPIs, we came to know the success of our lubrication program, and we also have tracked our program effectively, and we can improve our lubrication program over a period of time. Thank you very much for your time, and for more videos related to condition monitoring and reliability, please subscribe to the below YouTube channel Proactive Reliability Mindset. Thank you very much.